We are blessed to be the Rebbe Shluchim to the capital of the Amazon, a city called Manaus. You can imagine that the community is quite small and every Jew is a rare and precious gem. A few years ago, I met a special Yid named Ben Zion. We developed a close relationship through his interest in Kabbalah. It started with the Svirot, then Hebrew, and eventually Mitzvot and prayer. With time, he shared with me that he was battling a brain tumor for a number of years. Now in Brazil, the overwhelmed public health system can have people waiting for Le'aleinu years or until Chas v'Shalom their death. Every week, he would call them to see if his name was up on the list for his much-needed treatment, but unfortunately it wasn't. With time, the tumor grew and he lost hearing in one of his ears. He was scared that the tumor would spread and he would lose his intellectual abilities. Around 7 months ago, my wife gave birth to a child in the local hospital. By Hashgacha Pratis, Ben Zion was also in the hospital for a non-related treatment. I walked across the corridor and visited him. Sitting by his side, as he faced the gloomy hospital room, he shared his thoughts. He had decided that he would let his hair grow until he had the surgery. It was already quite long when he said that, but at that moment, I felt for him. Something happened there, and I decided I had to do something. A crazy idea came to my mind to join him in his quest. I too would not cut my hair until he would get the much needed surgery. I shared the idea with another community member, Yaakov, and he too agreed to not cut his hair. We started to discover more about Ben Zion's gamma knife treatment and try fruitlessly to get him to be number one in the public health system. But that always failed. I write to the Rebbe every week and continue to ask brachas for Ben Zion's help. 3 months ago, as both our hairs were becoming pretty wild, I decided that we needed more help. We had to go public. And therefore we started a charity campaign, Help Ben Zion. With a few days, we Baruch Hashem raised a quarter of the funds. However, the buzz ended there and the donations quickly stopped coming in. And these crowdfunding sites are just platforms at the end of the day. People give to people. I felt really bad having shared Ben Zion's story with the world and yet not resolving his problem. That's when I walked into the office, downcast, with a heavy heart. I put my head down and davened for Hashem's help. Within a minute, the phone rang and went straight to voicemail. But being that there was no space, nothing was recorded. You see, my daughter likes to use the phone and call on speed dial many times, filling up the voice box. I decided to raise some old messages, and lo and behold, I hear of a voice of somebody saying, I heard about Ben Zion's campaign. I want to help. But the message was cut off only halfway because the voice message box was full. So I quickly tried to discover his number and called him back. Now I can openly see through this conversation that Hashem's hand was guiding us when we needed it most. A few weeks go by, and though me and this kind-hearted gentleman exchanged many messages, the only thing that materialized was that we were able to get that the price of treatment was half from the original proposal. Now that was a big feat, but we still needed to raise a significant amount of money. That's when I decided to fly to São Paulo, together with Ben Zion, to show to the world that this story, this difficult and challenging situation was not a hoax. Once there, Baruch Hashem, things started moving and we raised an additional 20%. A few days later, that generous individual helped raise the remaining amount. And on the Chof Ches Adar, Ben Zion flew to Brasilia and had the successful surgery. I shared this story with you in the month of Nisan because it's a month of miracles. You should never underestimate the power of Hashem, the power of the Rebbe's brachas, and more importantly, the power of your own decisions that you will not succeed. You can succeed. Just take it out of your mind, and sometimes even out of your own hair. Because this campaign has been so successful, we still want to give some people the opportunity to participate. As coming close to Pesach, please visit splittheriver.com, and for every donation over $180, we will cut part of the hair that got the brachos, and Bezrat Hashem, as part of a successful campaign, you will be blessed with anything that you need, and more importantly, nachas from the kids, shalom bayis, parnasa barachava, and gesund. Have an excellent and kosher and freilich